This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Thursday, 23rd November 2023. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is News to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. The Caribbean Examinations Council has announced that from results released for the June 2023 CSEC and CAPE exams, a total of 40 Trinidad Tobago students placed first in the region in their respective subjects in the June 2023 CAPE examinations. At CAPE Unit 1, TNT candidates placed first in 58 of the subjects attempted, while at CAPE Unit 2, our candidates placed first in 52 of the subjects attempted. 5 of the students from Trinidad and Tobago are named among the top performers in the CAPE Regional Merit Listing. Meanwhile, TNT students will be awarded by the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants for outstanding performances in the CAPE 2023 accounting examinations. Soca artist Ira George says he will release on Friday a new version of his song, Happy People, which will not include the national anthem. On his Instagram page, George said he monitored social media and realized people were engaged in healthy discussions about the song, the federation, who wrote the anthem, what yet was written, the laws and protocols that goes with it. He said he also took note of the Prime Minister's comments on the matter. He said the song's aim is to bring Trinidad and Tobago back to proudness, respect, love, and happiness. He also asked fans and the people of Trinidad and Tobago to delete his previous versions and stay on course with the song Happy People. The Police Complaints Authority, PC, has seen a significant rise in the number of complaints of misbehavior being committed by police officers. In the last fiscal year, the most common allegations requiring disciplinary action included discreditable conduct, neglect of duty, and unlawful exercise of authority. And the most common criminal offense allegations included assaults and murder. 354 matters were referred by the Police Complaints Authority to the Commissioner of Police for action to be taken following complaints brought to the PCA and members of the public for the period 2014 to 2022. During the same period, 93 matters were sent to the DPP where criminal action was recommended against police officers. PCA Director David West said yesterday that from 2014 to 2015, the PCA received 252 complaints. Fast forward 21 to 22, with that increase to 569. As a result, there had been a 66.7% increase in complaints. PCA Director David West speaking during the inquiry held by the Public Accounts Committee into the authority's financial statements 2015 to 2021. A prison officer has been charged with breach of a protection order and assault by threats. Narayan Budram, 33, was expected to appear virtually before a Sangre Grande magistrate on Tuesday. He was charged with the offenses the previous day. It was alleged he approached 2 people around 4:40 p.m. on Sunday and threatened them while they were at a Trinidad Riverline, a resort in Matura. Both victims went to the Matura police station and reports were made. One of the victims produced a copy of a protection order which was issued at the Sangre Grande Magistrates Court on April 12, 2021. Which prohibited the suspect from engaging in or threatening to engage in any acts of domestic violence against the victim. Corporal Rampersad and a party of police officers conducted inquiries and went to Trinidad Riverline where the suspect was told of the report of the breach against him, cautioned and arrested by Corporal Rampersad. Investigations were executed by officers of the Mayara police station. In news of the region, adult passengers of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company will see their bus fare slashed by 30% for the current $100 to $70 as of January 1st, 2024. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark made the announcement at Wednesday's post-cabinet news briefing. Students will see their bus fares reduced from $30 come January 1st, while pensioners will see their fare roll back from $40 to $30 at the start of the new year. And internationally, government forecasters say the UK economy will grow much more slowly than expected in the next 2 years as inflation takes longer to fall. The Office of Budget Responsibility says living standards are also not expected to return to pre-pandemic levels until 2027 or 2028. The OBR, which is an independent from government, publishes 2 sets of economic forecasts a year, which are used to predict what will happen to government finances. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
up to date, and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Good morning, neighbors. 6 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock on this 23rd day of November. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Paul Breakfast Show. We got Paul Richards, we got Richard Ragabarasi, we got Ruben. My name is Steve Khan. Let's get straight into the WTs, see what's happening weather and traffic-wise on the nation's roads. Okay, let's San Fernando. I doubt there's anything going on there, and I was right. Claire coming up the solo until you get to Chase Village towards Sugar Corner, so you got a little brake light will come on. Then you'll speed up, and just by Charlieville, you'll get traffic heading towards Interchange, which is short-lived until about El Socorro. Trinity City to UE, clear until you get to Valsain, El Socorro, and after El Socorro, it's pretty much clear in the Port of Spain. Nothing out to the west, building out of Maraval, out of Mocha, approaching Macoya on the Eastern Main Road. That's where you got your traffic. All right. Quickly, let's take a look at our temps and our weather for today. That a downpour in Port of Spain yesterday, I tell you. And let's see, weather forecast. Is it updated? No, it's not. No, it's not. All right. So I'll give you that whenever it pops in. All right. It is 24 at Piarco International Airport, 26 at Crown Point in Tobago. Toronto, you're sitting at 3 degrees with some cloud. Miami, 23, same thing. Orlando, clear, and 14. New York, mostly clear, and 8 degrees. Atlanta, you're sitting at 5 and clear. London, 11, mostly cloudy. Tampa, you're with 14 and partly cloudy. Washington, D.C., clear and 7. Of course, LA, 16. All right, that's temps across our listenership. Let's see who sent us hello is first thing this morning. Let's check those on Facebook and on YouTube first. Let's see. We got Oliver Man Warren. Good morning. DJ Ray out in Tampa. Trinity in Boston. Wayne B. in Covington, Georgia. Marcia Rock. Wendy and James Garth Seeley out in Baltimore, Maryland. That's a new one. M. Lovela. Okay, I don't know what that is, but good morning to you anyway. Donna Leeling, good morning. Happy Thursday, guys. Ray out in New York this morning. Good morning to you, Ray, and happy Thanksgiving to all those across the U.S. as you celebrate Gobble Gobble Day. Alistair Hart, good morning. Slick Money Grip, good morning. Maria Celie, Richard Duku, good morning. And of course, that is via YouTube and Facebook. Got some hellos on WhatsApp. You too can WhatsApp at 3181021. Someone says, good morning, guys. Another person, Boyley, yeah, out in Davie says, good morning. Dennis Passad, more games. Gabriella Samuel, good morning to you as well. Yeah. And good morning to you, Paul. What's happening?
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Iowa George.
I told you it would have been an easy edit. He produced it. They produced it such a way it's an easy edit to the anthem. It was just a
Really, it feels that he edits, you know. He sees that Iowa George takes us all for fools.
It was a little, you know.
About he took note of the discussions about the Federation, who wrote the anthem, and what it was written. Iowa George. Iowa George. Iowa George. Neil Iowa George.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what you were doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You want a little attention, a little publicity for a song? Because you are the forward master. So you get your attention, right? You didn't care how you denigrate the national anthem to do it.
Doing the chores. Good morning, guys, small. And good morning to my new best friend, Paul. Yeah. Lives out in Union Village, Claxton Bay. Good morning to my friend. He's our latest millionaire. Ticket was purchased yesterday at Hermitage
somebody want
Road.
it?
Yeah, Hermitage Road, Union Village, Claxton Bay. One person won that 20, well,
Good for
19
you.
plus.
Congratulations, buddy, or ma'am, or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
spend it
whoever
all
it
in one
is.
place.
My new best
And don't
friend.
tell anybody. Don't tell a family. Don't tell a friend. Don't tell a wife. Don't tell a husband. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell a soul.
Go to
Secretly.
work normal and
Yeah.
relax yourself and take your time. Because your family said will tell people that they win $20 million plus, and then the banners will come for you. God forbid.
God, I need.
Don't tell nobody.
Oh, God, help me
Don't tell
back.
nobody.
God. I need to fix my house. My baby not feeling well.
Everybody's your family at that point. Don't tell us.
So one person won it.
Good for them.
Yeah. Ah, well. My new best friend. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
The thing that annoys me just to think about it. And he had a release of information yesterday through 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. I mean, to me, aging artists getting desperate.
Aging artist. Don't make me laugh, please.
Do you understand? Did you really need to do all of that? People like you, people like your performances, and I guess your music. You know. So what up next? You know, what you gonna do? You're going to put well, we had the Lord's Prayer and a calypso already. But nobody carried on like that, I guess, because
It might be remixed. You never know. Rena Boodoo Jennings, good morning to you. She's watching us on YouTube.
For young students who, many of them, 40 TNT students, placed first in the region in their respective subjects in Cape.
Yeah.
2023. Congratulations, you have done well. That's what I keep telling people. Most of the young people doing well, you know. This thing, but oh my God, the whole generation, this and this. No, it's some few. The vast majority are respectful and doing well and working hard. Okay, and the few that not doing well and giving trouble is because of we, the parents, who didn't do what we were supposed to do. But you could make them, but you can't make them mind. Actually, you can make them mind. Actually, you can.
You can mold them.
Yeah, so don't give me that nonsense. Okay, abdicating your responsibility. You can't make their mind. You can very well form their mind here, unless they have some kind of mental defect or something. Please. You know, Steve and audience, I came across something this morning and it struck me. Let me read a story first, and then I'll read the play the clip.
Make sure to have no music in the clip.
No. Oh, you realize, right? I told you? Right, we got pulled down yesterday. A prison officer has been charged with breach of protection order and assault by threats. Narayan Bujram, good morning, Narayan, 33, was expected to appear virtually before Sangugani magistrate on Tuesday. He was charged with offenses on Monday. It is alleged he approached two people at 4:40 p.m. and threatened them when they went to Trini River Lime, a resort in Matura. They went to the police and made a report, and one of the victims produced a copy of a protection order which was issued at the Sangugani Magistrates Court on the 12th of April 2021, which means he had issues with the person before, and they thought he was a threat to them, and they went and get a protection order to keep his backside away from them. Morning, Tat. He was engaging in threatening or acts of domestic violence against the victim. Right? So I think you get charged now. I'm going to play something, and this is against the backdrop of the coward who stalked his ex-wife, went into an insurance company office, shot her, went outside,
Yes.
killed an innocent person, hijacked a car, and then went and took his own life. Let me play this. This is going to bring chills from your body.
Let me hear that.
With a piece of plank to help with hulling. Nearly 50 years later, whenever a woman is slaughtered, I hear that thud followed by kill me, but I still love you. Boop, kill me. Boop, kill me. Boop. I peeped through the door and saw a woman being kicked. She was on the ground being kicked. Boop, boop. And each kick followed by a surreal solo. Kill me, but I still love you. I assert that our language is lethal. Children learn the codes which excite the behavior we call battering from our language. It is reinforced by the brutality they observe, often as victims of incest. They learn the right of macho man, and that for a woman, the least indiscretion must deserve the name whore, slut, or frequently death by stabbing, chopping, or a piece of plank on the head. Many more women must die from the violence our language inspires and justifies. The problem is worsened by the manifest breaking out of women from the shackles of traditional roles. They go to school, they excel, they work in sundry ways and take advantage of their liberty and equality. Some declare their equality by taking lovers or serial polygamy. None of these behaviors are punishable by death in our law. But for insecure macho men, a trifling act of infidelity is evidence that death for the woman is earned or deserved. We have to change our language codes. Boys have to be told women have every right they have, including sexual rights. They have to be told that beating a woman to death is not an option for a civilized man. Women have to stop declaring love for men who beat them and are likely to murder them. The murderous rampage and daily brutality a woman endure is really a law enforcement problem, especially since policemen and defense force personnel are often perpetrators of these horrors. Language, ideas, or culture, not the courts, are the keys to saving the lives of innocent women.
That's the late Morgan Job.
I actually took that picture.
Co-host of this Power Breakfast show.
Mm-hmm.
And many people didn't like Morgan because he was plain speaking and aimed at the problem. And I totally agree, because it's something I've studied for years, the power of language. And the fact that we have now very violent words for lovemaking and sex. Dig out, stab out. You understand? That are now commonplace terms for what was once lovemaking and engagement. And the language is what constructs human society and human values. And we are, and he's right. And I don't agree that all women who end up in those situations stay or say I love you, because the woman who was attacked by the coward who killed himself the other day, earlier this week, divorced him. She separated herself legally from him and otherwise. Her father is on a record as saying she suffered domestic violence for years. But men are socialized to believe, in many instances, that women are their properties. How dare you leave me? I could horn, but you, how dare you horn me? That you belong to me. And if you dare leave me, you will forfeit your life. And we could have all the police we want. Well, as Morgan Job said, sometimes the very police officers and defense force officers are perpetrators of the same paradigm.
Yeah, which we found out.
Not all, some, I stress.
Some.
Like in every other sector. And it's something about the way we socialize boys in the Trinidad and Tobago and wider Caribbean that has to change. End of rant. But I just found that so profound. And I saw it come across my feed this morning. I said, wow, so timely. Well, I guess they started circulating it when this coward killed himself after he committed this atrocious act of taking a human life and attempting to take another one. Someone who at one point he professed to love and care about, but because she said, no more licks for me. No more licks. I gone. He tried to kill her. Good morning to the TT Police Service. I hope Madam Commissioner here with Christopher looked on with great interest as the Police Complaints Authority reported to the Joint Select Committee on Public Administration or something like that yesterday, where it was reported by PCA Director David West that there had been a 66% increase in complaints between 2021 and 2022 of complaints against police officers, of which 93 were sent to the Director of Public Prosecution, where criminal action was recommended against officers. Okay? So when people tell me, I think it's Wendell said he thinks the Professional Standard Bureau is doing a great job, and I said, Stoops, that's why. I don't think they're doing any great job. Okay? Because them 93 matters that was sent to the DPP, I ain't feel very much coming out of that at all. The allegations included discreditable conduct, which could be a range of issues, neglect of duty, and unlawful exercise of authority, which could also mean a range of things. 93 were recommended by the PCA to be sent to the DPP, where criminal action was recommended against the officers. So when people tell me about the Professional Standard Bureau doing a good job, it's just Stoops. And that just matters that the public report here. Very often people don't report because they don't think anything will come of it. Maybe that could be their question this morning. If there's any Professional Standard Bureau of the Police Services doing a great job. A 66.7 increase in complaints. Now keep in mind, these are just complaints. They have not been adjudged to be valid. But still, these people getting the courage to go and complain when the police allegedly do nonsense. Right? And I'm sorry, I don't think enough is being done by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service leadership to weed out corrupt and indisciplined officers. I just don't think enough is being done. And that's why the police service is not able to make the inroads that it can, despite the amazing work of the honest, decent officers, which I believe are in the majority. But unfortunately, out of the 6,000 or 7,000, if you have 500 or 300 miscreants who are not being brought to justice, it will continue.
Yeah.
When you could have one of these senior ones on TV talking about, we allow you leaders, gang leaders, to run, manage your people, in such a stupid statement, implying that the police know who the gang leaders are, and they're allowing them to corral other people into gangs and carry out their duties, is such a stupid statement for somebody at that level to make. Which sparked a wider discussion about whether the police negotiating truce between criminal gangs when there's gang legislation in the country. And they rounds up 15 a week and a half ago and released most after charging them with loitering because they didn't have the evidence to keep them. Okay? Somebody go jump out and tell about bail just now. Remember, I tell you, it's coming up. Count to 15. They have gang laws. What are they doing with that? What? What? They're supposed to have, depending on who you listen to, between 40 or 80 gangs in this country, known to police. Right? Known. The gangs have names. You all know the names. 6, 7, Rasta City, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
We know just the murder was gang related. He was known to be affiliated with a gang. He was a known gang leader. You remember those headlines? But yet, despite a plethora of laws, you seem incapable of bringing the gangs to justice with profound evidence to support the cases. Because they say intelligence is not evidence. No, it's not. That's what your job. That's your job. Go and get the evidence.
Go and find it, yes. It's
They
there.
stumble
You
upon-
just have to find it.
They stumbled upon a huge set of guns in Santa Cruz 3 or 4 weeks ago. Great.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. After some surveillance, apparently. I don't know how you stumbled upon it after surveillance, so maybe it's the media reporting wrong. And not one arrest in connection
But they
with
had
the fire.
surveillance.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe my thinking is off and my logic is off. And
I think the spirit of Morgan Job has just entered you.
Standards Bureau is doing a great job. Where? How? Tell me. How? How? Oh, they brought some officers to justice. How many of the bad lot? 1%, 3%, 5%, 7%? Stoops. Big, long, watery stoops. The blue wall of silence will continue until and unless an independent body is created to weed out corrupt officers at the highest levels. Because I've always said, where's the entry level? Is corporal or constable? Constable? I think it's constable.
I don't know.
Yes, constable. Constable or corporal, they had the power or access information to give no criminal. Them just know when they're on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
No, they're a step ahead.
It's the higher ups that there for decades who entrenched. I don't know. Anyway, good morning again to the young people who have made us proud in Cape and done very well in the region, 40 of them, and I guess others too, who've done very, very well in Cape. Continue to work hard and excel.
Focus.
Stay focused. And
You know, as you said, as you did that Morgan Job there, Paul, the accident that killed 3 people years ago by the market, which caused the government of Trinidad and Tobago to put a walkover. You have not heard anything about that, you know. You have not heard anything. The protection of within.
mm-hmm.
The protection.
The city man, the officer was alleged to be inebriated,
Mm-hmm.
who was taken on a 12-hour or 15-hour drive before taking and giving a breathalyzer.
Mm-hmm. We heard
But
that.
it's
The entire
not
population.
a senior officer. Okay, who run into the mother and the 2 children, the daughters, and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And where the CCTV camera happened to be happened to all be non-functional
Mhm.
at the time of the accident. Gayleen Bonardi, I'll never forget her name. That's her name. Gayleen Bonardi and her 2 daughters, because I went into the Beetham on assignment hours after that caused protest by the residents of not Beetham, Sealots,
Mhm.
right? Because this man, drunken with his drunken self,
Mhm.
plowing into them when they were crossing the road.
Mhm.
From all accounts, broke a light.
I remember in
And
2020
they
there
were
was
killed.
another one, Paul. There was another.
Let me ask you something. He ever went to jail?
Well, we haven't heard anything.
Okay, well, yeah, you keep it long enough, everybody will forget.
What year was that?
You stretch it out long enough. Had he ever been charged? I don't
We
ever
don't
remember
know.
him being charged. No,
We
I don't think he
know.
was charged. I think we don't remember. I don't think he was ever charged. We don't know what happened to that case. The case that we keep asking about with the young man in the car that was pursued by police and crashed
Independence
into
Square.
Central Bank or around the Independence Square.
Independence, Shotgun Street.
And the car was riddled with bullets, including a
Mhm.
17-year-old in the car. Have we ever heard anything about that? No, the
No.
investigations
Mm-mm.
are continuing.
Mm-mm. That's what you'll hear. Investigations are
And
continuing.
1 year passes,
How long
2
does it
years
take?
pass, 3 years pass, 4 years pass.
In
That case,
2020, hey, listen, in 2020, a drunk police officer killed someone. We haven't heard about that too. Driving. I think that was in San
they
Fernando.
know how to what's the
Protect
word?
within.
They know how to put up the blue wall of silence. So don't tell me nothing but no professional standard bureau from inside the police service. Himself investigating himself would never work for me. Never work for me.
Never.
Can't remember they go down to do great work and whatever. Whatever. Good morning to Jamaica. Good morning to PTSC. Adult passengers of Jamaica Urban Transit Company will see their bus fare slashed by 30%, going from 100 Jamaican dollars to 70. Now, there's a couple of TT dollars there. That is not the same. We have Jamaica as a very inflated exchange rate. As of January 1st, 2024, students in Jamaica will see their bus fare reduced by $5 from 30 from January 1st. And pensioners
Free.
will see their bus fare rolled back from $40 to $30. As announced by Jamaican Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark at the post-cabinet news briefing yesterday.
Let me do a Carol Guevara. Wagwan. Good morning, Jamaica.
And it may not be much because, as I said, Jamaica's exchange rate is a lot. You get confused when you go to Jamaica and they tell you bread is $80 here. You understand? But it is always a great sign when a government makes those sorts of decisions. It mightn't be a lot, but it's heading in the right direction. Yes, guys, small. Brent Thomas and the Barbados imbroglio that up to now, we don't know if the Commissioner of Police has delivered an official report to the Minister of National Security.
We don't know.
Okay, and that's slipping away into nothingness. After a judge said that the police kidnapped the man in Barbados and bring him back here.
A judge,
and almost nobody, the Commissioner of Police was asked if she gave the order. Her answer was, I cannot speak on that, investigations are ongoing. Nobody know who, I was going to say pull the trigger, but that will be a wrong analogy, who initiated that action. Up to now, police decide that they get on their own volition and jump out and get a craft of national security in this country or some craft authorized by national security to go into another jurisdiction, pick up a man and bring him back. The Barbados Attorney General said that the actions did not conform with what is lawful. It is that damning. But of course, that gone silent. And good job.
Never land. Never land.
You wait long enough, it will be less intense in the public domain, and we forget about it. That
Brent Thomas went through an ordeal.
And I am not saying whether what the police are alleging Brent Thomas is involved in is accurate or inaccurate, I am saying you cannot break the law to uphold the law. Anyway. So good morning to the Jamaican government. Good job. It mightn't be much, but I'm sure Jamaicans, students, pensioners, and adult passengers, which basically I guess that accounts to everybody.
Pretty much.
Because if it's adult passengers,
it goes across the board.
That's basically across the board. Yeah,
we can't even get PTSD to work on a public holiday. Mind you, I do remember someone. Did they call in? I complained that during Carnival time, Carnival Monday and Tuesday, the fares were doubled. So people wanted to take public transport into the capital city for Carnival. I know who told me. Because they did that.
But is that accurate?
Yeah, they jumped in a bus, and I think the fare was supposed to be $5, and the driver said it's $10. And it was
But have you confirmed that is accurate? That's what I'm asking.
No, I have actually tried to reach the
I wouldn't
week after Carnival. But she won't lie to me. But why would they do something like that? Why would that driver do something like that?
She wouldn't lie to you if not evidence that it's accurate.
No. But we need to have a proper PTSD service. Christmas and Boxing Day coming up. They're not going to work for those 2 days. Diwali just finished. Buses are breaking down all over the place. They look totally dilapidated. Some of them.
Again, my buses just now. Don't tell me if I'm not excited.
Yeah. I have a morning poll, Do you believe the blood of Dr. Morgan Job is running through Dr. Paul Richards' veins this morning?
No.
That's a good poll.
No, Steve, no. No.
On a lighter side, happy Thanksgiving to those in the U.S.
It's Thanksgiving.
And did you all see? So yesterday lunchtime, they closed off the border from Canada and U.S. and vice versa because of a car exploded by the Peace Bridge. And this morning, I actually saw the footage of what happened. A husband and wife were in a casino. They left the casino. And they actually have a Bentley, by the way. The vehicle is a Bentley. And they drove that vehicle at a high rate of speed, clocked over 100 miles an hour, hit something, flew into the air, into the border crossing, and exploded.
Did they live?
No, they died. They died on impact. But it's a Bentley. The car actually flew. If I find that footage, I'll send it for you, and you all go, wait. Or if Ruben find it, he can send it for me.
Good morning, Raghubar Singh.
Good morning, Richard.
Hi, good morning, guys. Good morning to our listeners, wherever you are.
We're recording
on this Thursday morning.
Since Richard is in, I have to do something for the office. I'll be back in 5.
Malfeasance over the years that have not been fully investigated. Given the PCA's report to a joint select committee yesterday, There was 66% increase in police complaints over the last year, 21 to 22, I should say, not over the last year, with 93 of the matters being sent to the DPP out of over 500 for criminal recommendations of criminal action being taken.
And the DPP did not act on it, or
But I don't know. The report didn't indicate whether the DPP acted on it or not. But I went back to Wendell's point that he thinks the police professional standards bureau is doing a good job, and I said no, they're not. No, they're not. Not at all. I'm very sorry. I've never thought they did a great job, and I think that agency inside the police service is to give the public some sort of false sense of comfort that police indiscipline and or malfeasance will be investigated. Because if the professional standard bureau was so great, we'll never make a constitutional creature like the Police Complaints Authority, because we wouldn't have needed to. You understand? The reason that we invented a Police Complaints Authority is because we have no confidence in the Professional Standard Bureau or any other agency in the police service to investigate properly police malfeasance. So you need an independent body, and the PCA still have the kind of powers they need to bring some of them to justice. And I will say it again.
Well, I mean, I agree we need an independent body, but the PSB obviously also has a mandate, and they do fulfill some of it, because you do hear charges being laid by the PSB. But yes, I do believe
recommend that charges be laid. The PSC can't lay charges.
Why the PSB can't lay charges?
The PSC could lay charges.
Why they can't? They're police officers.
Or the Police Professional Standard Bureau. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said the PCA. My bad.
No,
Yeah,
the
they can lay
PCA
charges.
can't lay. No, they have to.
PCA can't lay charges.
No, they have to recommend it to the DPP.
Yeah.
And the DPP will decide on the weight of the evidence whether they meet the threshold of beyond reasonable doubt. That's obviously the threshold they have to meet. Ultimately, in a criminal case.
What can I say?
So we'll see all of that plays out. But I saw some of it on news last night, because he was also saying about the resources that they require, the additional funding they require, things like that, for vehicles and for updating the app, I think. I know they do have an app.
Yeah, they have an app.
So
anyway, so this is some of these stories, but I played back a clip. I guess I could play it again for those who may have just joined us. Such a profound clip, so I'm sure it'll make you shake a bit. Having to do with domestic violence.
Beaten with a piece of plank to help with hulling. Nearly 50 years later, whenever a woman is slaughtered, I hear that thud followed by kill me, but I still love you. Boop, kill me. Boop, kill me. Boop. I peeped through the door and saw a woman being kicked. She was on the ground being kicked. Boop, boop. And each kick followed by a surreal solo. Kill me, but I still love you. I assert that our language is lethal. Children learn the codes which excite the behavior we call battering from our language. It is reinforced by the brutality they observe, often as victims of incest. They learn the right of macho man, and that for a woman, the least indiscretion must deserve the name whore, slut, or frequently death by stabbing, chopping, or a piece of plank on the head. Many more women must die from the violence our language inspires and justifies. The problem is worsened by the manifest breaking out of women from the shackles of traditional roles. They go to school, they excel, they work in sundry ways and take advantage of their liberty and equality. Some declare their equality by taking lovers or serial polygamy. None of these behaviors are punishable by death in our law. But for insecure macho men, a trifling act of infidelity is evidence that death for the woman is earned or deserved. We have to change our language codes. Boys have to be told women have every right they have, including sexual rights. They have to be told that beating a woman to death is not an option for a civilized man. Women have to stop declaring love for men who beat them and are likely to murder them. The murderous rampage and daily brutality a woman endure is really a law enforcement problem, especially since policemen and defense force personnel are often perpetrators of these horrors. Language, ideas, or culture, not the courts, are the keys to saving the lives of innocent women.
Mhm.
Interesting
Late Morgan
perspective.
Job.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting perspective.
Yeah. Anyway, you have papers?
I certainly do.
Would you care to regale us?
Of course, I can. So I'll start with the Daily Express for this morning. And just in case you didn't know, today is Thursday, November 23rd, 2023. So happy Thanksgiving to all of our American family and friends and to people in the United States. Happy Thanksgiving. Of course, today is a holiday. This is a kind of holiday weekend in the United States.
Big holiday
Until
weekend.
Monday. Yeah, until Monday.
Biggest holiday weekend of the year.
Yep. So our main headline on the Daily Express: Iowa changes tune. Soca star drops national anthem from Carnival song. That's the main headline. Subheadlines: 713 complaints against cops in 1 year. And away in a manger, Christmas at the mall, 7-year-old Mariana Gutierrez touches the head of a decorative calf yesterday at the nativity scene at the falls at Westmoreland, Westmoreland, which was gearing up for the Christmas season. And on the back page of the Daily Express, confusing selectors, ex-players question reasoning behind Bravo's ODI blank. And Tage and Hodge edge Windies A to narrow lead. So that's the front and the back of the Daily Express. I'll move on straight to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. What headline did they go with? I'll tell you. Father of mall murder suicide victim. My heart is heavy. Third son lost to violent crime in 5 years. Tells attackers' sons they are not to blame for latest scenario. And there are pictures of his sons who would have died. Nicholas Ramdan was killed in 2018, Stefan Ramdan killed in 2018, and Rosario Ramdan now killed on Monday. And there is a picture of the father. Iowa changes his tune on a happy song, and PCA gets record number of complaints. All of that is on the front page of The Guardian. And on the back page, Copa America spot up for grabs, TNT versus Canada. And Arima North Secondary's Jadon Critchlow battles for control of the ball with Salmon North Secondary's Desalee Lewis during the SSFL East Zone Intercall Final at the Larry Gomes Stadium in Arima on Tuesday. Arima North Secondary won on penalties 15-14. I can't remember the last time Arima North Secondary would have won Intercall. Have they ever won Intercall? I don't know. I don't know what the stats are. Maybe they have before. I don't know. And you don't know, obviously, Paul. So that's it for the front and the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. On to the Newsday today. And on the front page of the Newsday, Waterlord changes song after public uproar. Anthem out of Iowa's happy people. So that seems to be the number one news item on the two of the dailies at least. West PCA needs more dollars for more complaints. And the main picture is of Baila students from the St. Patrick's Newtown Girls RC School perform a Spanish dance at Parang on the Pavers at the Ministry of Education's head office, Port of Spain, on Wednesday. And on the back page of the Newsday today, TT coach knocks poor communication by selectors, CWI policy after the fact, and Eve welcomes Canada clash in Copa playoff. So that's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So you have been duly regaled.
Excuse. My suggested question is, should the PCA be able to lay charges for corrupt officers or errant officers? I'd have so much confidence in police officers laying charges against police officers.
You mean should the PCA have that power?
Yes.
To charge police officers? Are they asking for it?
They've asked for expanded powers, yes. They've asked for more investigative powers in the past. to be honest, I can't remember they asked for powers to charge, but I know they've asked for investigative powers because very often they have to wait for police to call them to investigate a scene at which police are involved in some sort of killing. I'm not saying whether I'm saying killing. Police end up killing somebody. By the time that they done sweep up the place already and go on the way.
Yeah.
So that's my suggested question this morning. I don't know if you had two questions yesterday, and we could use one. I can't remember the second one was. We used one of your two questions yesterday. But that's out of my head now.
I mean, I have no problem with the question you suggested.
All right. While Steve gives the answers. The result of the question yesterday.
All right. While Paul types, let's say good morning. Going out to a few people that sent us a message. Gabriella Samuel, good morning. Mogi. Guy Small, Rena Boodoo Jennings, Rhonda, Alexis, Marshall, Julian, Ray, Karen Yipnow, good morning. Beauty Culture, Brenda Isaac, Shoen Kerr, Yolando Cordner, Brian Marcel, good morning. All right. Good morning in England, in London, England. Good morning to you. Michael, how you doing? All right. You got the question there, Paul?
You're supposed to give us the results.
No, I don't have the results from yesterday at all. It didn't come up.
Okay, well, this is the question this morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yesterday what we asked you about the St. Anthony's Roman Catholic Church. So I have the results on that quickly. Do you agree with the St. Anthony's Roman Catholic Church imposition of dress code banning naked shoulders, legs, and cleavage? That was our poll yesterday. I'll give you the results right after this.
Have the same rights and access to services and opportunities as every other citizen in Trinidad and Tobago, but they do not, and it's time for change.
The Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago's Subcommittee on Human Rights Working Group on Disability Rights is hosting a series of consultations titled Law and Disability Rights.
Saturday, 25th November, Naparima Girls Auditorium, San Fernando.
And Saturday, 2nd December, Hillview College Auditorium, El Dorado Road, Tunapuna, 2 to 5 p.m.
Come share your important views on what you think laws that protect the rights of persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago should look like, and what must be included in that law to protect your rights.
The Law and Disability Rights Public Consultations, Saturday, 25th November, Naparima Girls Auditorium, San Fernando, and Saturday, 2nd December, Hillview College Auditorium, El Dorado Road, Tunapuna, 2 to 5 p.m.
Come share your perspective and contribute to crafting comprehensive laws to protect the rights of persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Our poll yesterday, do you agree with St. Anthony's Roman Catholic Church imposition of dress code banning naked shoulders, legs, and cleavage? The results are at 93%, 93 said yes. All right. This morning's poll, here we go. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? All right. Do you think the PCA should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? 222-8255, North Americans, toll free, 866-525-1099, on WhatsApp at 318-1021, and on Facebook and on YouTube. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers?
Good morning to Carl Jock in Baghdad, Wayne Joseph in Ontario, Canada, and Michael Robinson, Yokohama, Japan. Talk about international.
Yeah, he's probably on the train heading home, right? Right, Michael Robinson? Am I right? All right,
So
so
that's
let's get those votes in.
Wayne says yes. Wayne B says yes.
Right.
Is that 2 votes or 1?
2 different people, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We have a call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. Sandy Grandi, no.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. No, just like the police, let them do their investigation and send their findings to the DPP.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Marcia Rock says yes. Thank you, Marcia. Always locked on. Carol Guevara says yes. Thank you so much. Guy Small says no to the poll. All right. WhatsApp at 318-1021 or call us at 222-8255 or toll free for gobble people 866-525-1099. Cascade St. Anne's says yes. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? DJ Ray, good morning, Jordan Tampa, says no. All right. Thank you so much, DJ Ray.
You can also send us your votes via WhatsApp at 318-1021. Of course, you put the 868 before it. 318-1021. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans toll free at 866-525-1099. People on the web and app, you can send your votes via the comment section on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and we will capture your votes on those respective platforms.
Yeah. All right. Just letting you know, there's an accident just east of the interchange on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. I don't know if it's east or westbound. It doesn't say. Just letting you know that. All right.
Julia S. Batiste says yes.
Morning, Julia. All right. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? Yes.
She tell you yesterday, if you're not washing that scarf every day, you're keeping virus close to you.
No, it was washed last night. It washes every 2 days. I can't find my other one. I don't know where it is. I was looking for it yesterday.
Was it by Zena?
No comment. No comment. It was washed on Tuesday.
Michael Robinson says no. Or is that no, not on the train? Or is that no?
No, he's saying no, Steve, not on the train at
well, that's
home
not a no
today.
All right.
Oh, it's a holiday in Yokohama, Japan. Okay. What holiday is that? Let us know, Michael. All right. And happy birthday going out to Rennie from her dad, Frank Edwards. Happy birthday to you, Rennie. Have a great day. All right. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, PCA, should have the power?
Keegan Barra says yes.
To lay charges against corrupt officers. Call us, messages, WhatsApp.
Anthony Alexis says yes. One more stunt I we're going to put before the end of the year now. You're going to go up on a stage and say, stand at attention for the national anthem, right? You know that, right? Anybody who's a proud Trinity, put your hand in the air. Never a dull moment. Okay, the 5 minutes of you are gone, so. Do you think the Police Complaints Authority, the PCA, should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers? In our system, generally, if it's criminal, it's the DPP. But there's nothing to change. You could change anything you want to change, The DPP would advise the police to lay charges, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, let's run into our 7 o'clock major news. Of course, on this, the 23rd day of November, Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
40 Trinidad and Tobago students placed first in the region in their respective subjects in the June 2023 CAPE examinations. Over 300 matters sent to Commission of Police by PCA between 2014 and 2022. PCA gets an increase in complaints from the public, and soca artist Iowa George to release new version of Happy People song on Friday. Details in a moment. This is News 2, 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel Bob. Good morning. According to the Caribbean Examinations Council, Caribbean results released for the June 2023 CSEC and CAPE exams, a total of 40 of Trinidad and Tobago students placed first in the region in their respective subjects in the June 2023 CAPE examinations. At CAPE Unit 1, Trinidad and Tobago candidates placed first in 58% of subjects attempted, while at CAPE Unit 2, our candidates placed first in 52% of the subjects attempted. 5 of our students are named among the top performers in the CAPE Regional Merit Listing. The students are Darius Payne of Naparima College, most outstanding performance, CAPE Natural Sciences; Isabel Abadi of St. Joseph Convent, Port of Spain, most outstanding performance, CAPE Humanities; Sadana Rupchan of Naparima Girls High School, most outstanding performance, CAPE History, Eric Williams Foundation Award; Raika Haricharan of Hillview College, most outstanding performance, CAPE Mathematics, the RM Foundation Award; and Deanna B. Path, Rio Clara West Secondary School, most outstanding performance, CAPE Visual Arts 3D. Meanwhile, 5 Trinidad and Tobago students will be awarded by the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants for outstanding performance in June 2023 CAPE accounting examinations. The students are Messiah Constantine of Trinity College Maraval, who placed first; Vasira Lala of St. Augustine Girls High School, 3rd place; Olatun Bosan Sumaran of Bishops Anstey and Trinity College East, 5th place; Vikash Bodoy of Upper Level Education Institute, 7th place; and Cheyenne Harinarayan, St. Augustine Girls High School, 8th place. At the Caribbean secondary education certificate level, Trinidad and Tobago students placed first in the region in 15 or 40% of the 37 respective CSEC subjects taken in the June 2023 CSEC examinations. Matthew Bihari of Naparima College and Jada Augustine of St. Augustine Girls High School are among the 2023 ACCA CSAC accounting awardees. Minister of Education Dr. Nayan Gatsby Dolly and Lisa Morris Julian extended congratulations to all our students for their outstanding performances at the June 2023 CSAC and CAPE examinations. The honorable ministers would also thanked all principals, teachers, parents, and guardians for giving human support to our students. Soca artist Iowa George says he will release on Friday a new version of his song Happy People, which will not include the national anthem. On his Instagram page, Mr. George said he monitored social media and realized that people were engaged in healthy discussions about the song, the federation who wrote the anthem, and yeah, it was written, the laws and protocols that goes with it, and other comments. He said that he also took note of comments made by the Prime Minister on the matter. Mr. George said the song's aim is to bring Trinidad and Tobago back to proudness, respect, love, and happiness. He also thanked his fans and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In other news, 354 matters were referred by the Police Complaints Authority to the Commissioner of Police for action to be taken following complaints brought to the PCA by members of the public for the period 2014 to 2022. During the same period, 93 matters were sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, where criminal action was recommended against police officers. PCA Director David West, speaking during an inquiry held by the Public Accounts Committee into the authority's financial statements for 2015 to 2021, gave a breakdown on the complaints received and the amount sent to both the Commissioner of Police and the DPP. Complaints are handled by professional investigators who are independent of the TT Police Service. The PCA was set up to protect citizens against abuse of those powers, including excessive force. It exposes misconduct, it improved police practice and policy, and provide police accountability and encourage discipline within the police.
In 2014 to 2015, 42 matters were sent to the Commissioner of Police and 10 were sent to the DPP. In 2015, 28 matters were sent to the Commissioner of Police, 7 to the DPP. 2016 to 2017, 80 matters sent to the Commissioner of Police, 17 matters sent to the DPP. 2017 to 2018, 34 matters to the Commissioner of Police, 2 to the DPP. 2018 to 2019, 28 matters to the COP, 4 to the DPP.
Mr. West was asked during the deliberation by PAC member Paula Gopi-Schoon what is a closed complaint, to which the PCA director indicated the factors under which complaints are no longer investigated.
A closed complaint happens when, for example, a member of the public decides, well, I don't want to go through it anymore. Or sometimes the member of the public and the officer come to an agreement and say, listen, okay, well, let bygones be bygones. Sometimes they migrate, they go away, so we can't finish it. Sometimes there's no, after the investigation, there's no evidence to prove that the offense has occurred. So we close the complaint. So that is how the complaints are closed.
Meanwhile, the Police Complaints Authority has seen an increase in complaints before the institution. For the period 2014 to 2015, the PCA received 352 complaints from members of the public. The figure moved to 569 for 2021 to 2022. PCA was allocated $138 million by the government to cover the period 2015 to 2021. Mr. West was asked if the funding was adequate for the entity to properly carry out its work, to which he said that it was adequate to meet the everyday expenses of the authority.
From 2014 to 2015, we had, when I first came in, we had 352 complaints. However, by 2021, 2022, that had increased to 569 complaints. So we've seen over the period a 66.7% increase in complaints. And further, initial reports, that is when complainants first come into the PCA and make a report, but it doesn't quite meet the standard of our serious police misconduct, our legal remit. That has increased from 552 to 1,028, which is an 86% increase.
Meanwhile, PCA Deputy However, Mr. West admitted with an increase in complaints, additional resources will be required to ensure efficiency.
We are trying to move to a more technologically advanced institution. We require some funding to provide for those enhancements. Also, to the mobile app that we introduced, I think in 2018, needs to be upgraded, and all our electronic equipment needs upgrading. So that would require further funding. We have vehicles that are about, on average, about 10 to 15 years old that require maintenance. So we require new vehicles.
Meanwhile, PCA Deputy Director Michelle Solomon Baksh said over the tenure of the authority, 25% of persons who came to make complaints did so individually for the period 2021 to 2022, while 23% used the website, 12% the mobile app, 7% were hand-delivered, and 11% used an email. The PCA Deputy Director then spoke of the significance of these figures.
If I had to break it down, Our website, 23% will bring complaints using our website. Email, 16%. And citizens use at least 11% will use a mobile app. So only 7% will hand deliver the complaints. Only 25% will walk in. So the public over the tenure of the PCA has embraced the use of modern technology to bring these complaints.
You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. We're straight into weather news now for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy, at times cloudy periods with occasional showers or rain over some areas. There's a low to medium chance of the isolated heavy shower or thunderstorm. Partly cloudy night with lingering showers. Gusty winds and street or flash flooding can occur in the event of heavy showers and thunderstorms. Look out for a forecast maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 31 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it's 26 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 28 at Crown Point. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock. 40 Trinidad and Tobago students placed first in the region in their respective subjects in the June 2023 CAPE examinations. Over 300 matters sent to Commissioner of Police by PCA between 2014 and 2022. PCA gets an increase in complaints from the public, and soca artist Iwa George to release new version of Happy People song on Friday. I'm Afril Sindhill Bab. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today. And an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All right. Thank you, Avril, for our major news. You can join her again at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. And then together with Sir Charles coming up at noon today. Quickly, let's take a look at what's happening in traffic-wise on the highways and on the byways. Oddly enough, Rivulet Road is not too bad. Little stop and go, but that's it. San Fernando, you're lighter than usual. Taking the Solo up north, you're going to pick up your traffic this morning by Charlieville before Monroe Road. There is a car accident before Monroe Road. It is northbound. All right, and that is just before Monroe Road. It's creating quite a little pileup. Leaving Sugar Gorners, only after past Chin Chin Road is where you're going to pick up some traffic. Kelly Village and headed to the back of the airport and coming out of BWIA Boulevard is a bit sticky. Coming out from the Carney roundabout towards Europe Southern Main Road is also a bit. McCoy Road, Paget Road, and going to the Eastern Main Road through Tacarigua, past McCoy to Paget, you got some traffic. Not too bad. Coming down St. Joseph, got some. Not too bad going to Champlain, but you will pick it up from the Quasi, heading to Mova Junction. From Coconut Drive to Lookout and out of Maraval and Diego Martin, you got some traffic there. All right. All right, gentlemen. Let's see if we can get the results of our morning poll. Let's see if we have any more votes here. Did we do CJ from New York saying yes? Michael Robinson is saying it's Labor Appreciation Day in Japan. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Beauty Culture says no. Good morning to you, Scorpion Pepper. Do I have anything on WhatsApp? No. And that's it.
All right. So our poll this morning is, do you think the Police Complaints Authority should have the power to lay charges against corrupt officers?
Scorpion Pepper just popped in with a no, Richie Rich.
Okay, well, we had 16 people voting on the poll this morning. And of the 16 people that voted, 9 of you said yes, you think they should have that power. 7 of you said no. So that was pretty close. I mean, of course, the yeses have it at 9, but the no's weren't far off at 7. So, obviously, some people feel that should remain the remit of the DPP.
Yeah. Von Drayton just popped in and said a yes. He thinks so.
Yeah. Well, I will just take it up to 10. It'll be 10-7. So 17 people have voted on the poll this morning. Paul, you're muted.
It'll be quite interesting because at that point, the PCA will be actually laying charges in addition to the police. That might be a bit convoluted. So the actual best way might be actually to Steve, please read properly. Okay.
Yeah,
Would be actually to let the DPP do the recommendation to the DPP, but then the DPP might find it doesn't meet the threshold. But if you have faith in the DPP, you have faith in the DPP, so that might be the best way to go. But I do believe the PCA needs more powers of investigation because they've been calling for that for a while. Because very often they have to wait on the police, if there's a report of a police-involved killing, to go onto the crime scene. And if the officers are corrupt in the crime scene, as we've seen in the past sometimes, they scour the scene and take away spent shells, and which is what happened. It would happen in Move at that time when the officers killed the 3 or 2 men. You know, by the time the PCA reached, the crime scene was disrupted by the very officers. So, you know, and that doesn't make any sense. David West said in an interview to me many years ago that very often the police call them hours after. By that time, the crime scene has been disturbed by passers-by, etc., which doesn't make any sense because, of course, if they do something wrong, they want a PCA to come in and see no evidence. And those are the challenges the PCA has very often. As I said, miss me with the Professional Standard Bureau because me know what standard I'm operating under. Himself can't be investigating himself and his colleagues, who is himself batch. That is why, up to now, there's still so much corruption in the police service. It's to me, one of the biggest issues facing the police service and its efficiency. So officers go in and put their lives at risk every day, and their colleagues selling them out to criminals. We can go figure. 222 talk. 222 8255, toll free 866-525-1099. Direct WhatsApp 868-318-1021.
So you heard our numbers. It's your time to be interactive with us. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, absolute toll free at 866-525-1099.
And the report by the PCS is just again brought to the fore for a short while because we'll forget it in a day or two. It's issues related to the police service and discipline and corruption. I mean, 93 criminal matters sent to DPP. That's very damning to me. 93, not 5 or 7, you know. 93 in the opinion of the Police Complaints Authority met the benchmark for criminal prosecution. You know, the 66.7% increase in complaints. I mean, complaints are just that, they're complaints. It doesn't mean that they actually will end up with officers being found guilty of what the people complaining about. There can be false complaints too, to be fair. But I mean, the trend is not good at all. And I hope the commissioner is taking note. Because she like to blame everybody else here. It's the media. Media don't report good thing. Love to blame, love to deflect. They don't want to take stock of themselves at all. But she knows. She's there long enough. She knows. She's aware. They even never bring up.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, of course, another burgeoning issue is the Ghana-Venezuela issue, because Venezuela, of course, if you have not been following the story, Venezuela is going to hold a referendum on December 3rd, whether to give the residents of that 2/3 of Ghana that it's claiming Venezuelan ID cards and basically to annex the territory. CARICOM, I remember I brought this up with Bass and Barath when we were discussing the issue of the Dragon Field and the signing of the whatever agreements. And I told him at that point, I found it so curious that 2 days after signing that agreement, Venezuela raised this issue again with with Guyana. And wasn't that an issue in terms of the geopolitics at play? And he was lukewarm about the idea, but it seems as if it's coming to pass. And this December 3rd issue, which Ghana is treating very seriously and has been advocating before the International Court of Justice, which Venezuela says they don't recognize, but they're still making whatever arguments before it, I think. And there is actually an editorial in one of the dailies today, I think it's the Express, that felt that Dr. Rowley's response to the matter was a little too diplomatic, in the sense of, obviously, he's trying to straddle between Trinidad and Tobago's interests with Venezuela and that Dragon gas field and whatever other agreements we have with Venezuela.
Remember, they're partners with both countries.
What's that?
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is working with the government of Guyana on some projects and also working with the government of Venezuela on some projects. So he has to be neutral almost.
Well, can he? Because the CARICOM's position is definitively that they side with Guyana on the issue. So I don't know how much leeway he has to be independent on that.
Yeah, but imagine he goes and says Venezuela wrong, dragging off,
Yeah.
You know that?
But I don't see. I mean, it's a difficult position.
It is.
So what other position can he take?
But he has to be neutral. He just has to stay out of it because he has Trinidad and Tobago. So the government of Trinidad and Tobago, which he leads, has immense interests in both countries.
Yeah. So it means depending on what position you take. You know, but CARICOM obviously is taking a particular position, of which we are part of CARICOM.
And he's a senior member of the CARICOM leadership.
I remember years ago, there used to be a portion of the British Army that resided in Ghana with regard to that issue. I suppose this was before Ghana became a republic, I'm not sure. I don't even know, because there are reports, I don't know how true it is or not, that Venezuela is building airstrips, etc., close to the border to facilitate whatever annexation they think will be possible pending the vote. Now, if you go through the process logically...
That's very Russia crime to me.
Exactly. That you just hold a referendum and say, yeah, we're going to annex another country's is reeks of Crimea. And if it is that Venezuela, which is very much more of a military and militaristic regime than other Caribbean and than the CARICOM region generally, was to decide, okay, we are forcibly going to annex, what's Ghana's response?
Beauty culture, the PC is not made up of police officers. It is an independent body. It has its own investigators.
Yeah, what would be Ghana's response? Because they don't have the military might to do it. Does it mean that CARICOM is going to send forces? Are you going to seek international assistance? December 3rd ain't that far off.
No, sorry.
It's next week.
So I just I know they're trying to deal with it from the legal point of view before the International Court of Justice. But this is this is going on for hundreds of years in terms of that claim. That claim goes back to 18-something, but it's always been disputed, and Venezuela and Ghana has always come out on the right side of any arbitration, as far as I'm aware.
Well,
not to forget that there's an old claim too that rises every now and then from certain far-right members of the Venezuelan government with regard to Trinidad. That Trinidad also belongs to Venezuela.
Well, depending on who in charge of Venezuela, I feel they could claim the whole Caribbean at some point.
Yeah. So no, but that's something that has cropped up from time to time. So I don't know.
Well, let me get somebody that's versed in this on the line.
Who is going to call? Is it
What you
Gonzalez?
asking me, Richard?
Huh? I know you don't like to be surprised, Paul.
All right, so I have Mr. Kevin Ramnarine on the line, a old Hillview boy, rubbing that in your face there, Richie. Rich morning.
Yeah, my condolences, Mr. Ramnarine. But
morning.
Deal with him there one time.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me, but I just want to put a disclaimer. Steve Khan asked me to come on the show about 45 seconds ago.
And I don't know that you're an international relations expert. I know that you're an energy sector expert. So I don't know, but Steve, this big announcement Steve made that he getting somebody who could talk about the dispute between Guyana and Venezuela is confusing to me.
Kevin is pretty much go back and forth between Guyana and Trinidad. So you might know a
But
lot.
that doesn't mean that you can comment on the Guyana Venezuela dispute.
I think I understand the issue pretty well, because some of the people who have been at the forefront of the Guyanese legal team are people I speak to, right? Of course, Sir Sridat Ramphal, who should need no introduction to people in the Caribbean, has been at the forefront of this matter, and he's actually written a book on it, which I was honored to receive a copy of the book directly from him. So there is a lot written about it. There's a lot of history. The history of this thing actually goes back to the 16th and 17th century, during the era of European expansion into the Americas, when the Spanish and the Dutch, at different points in times, occupied South America and the Caribbean and so on. So there's a long history, but it really came to a head in the second half of the 19th century, which is a long time ago, which is 2 centuries ago, when Britain and Venezuela had a dispute over who should own the Essequibo. And the United States, being the dominant player in this hemisphere, and you know something called the Monroe Doctrine, right, which says that anything that happens in the hemisphere, in the Americas, is the interest of the United States. The United States encouraged Venezuela and the United Kingdom at the time, Great Britain at the time, to settle the dispute through arbitration. And that arbitration started in 1897 and in Paris, and it ended in 1899 with the boundary that we now know today as the boundary between the two countries. And that decision of 1899, it is important to look. If you go back, the history is all over the internet. It's free of charge. Anybody could read it. There were 5 judges. There were two judges who were appointed by the Venezuelan team. There were 2 judges who were appointed by the British team, and there was a neutral judge. The chairman, he was a Russian, and they were among the 5 of the most prominent jurists in the world. And the decision was a unanimous decision of the arbitral tribunal. The decision was accepted by both countries. From 1899 to 1962, Venezuela had no problem with the boundary. In 1962, Venezuela raised objection to the boundary. That was around the time Guyana was approaching independence. We got our independence in 1962, as did Jamaica. Guyana got their independence in 1966. So Guyana was in the process, because independence is not a light switch. Independence was a process. So it was around the time Guyana was approaching their independence, and the Venezuelans raised this objection about the border. Now, independence is all about sovereignty, and sovereignty is all about political borders. So the Guyanese leadership at the time, which was Forbes Burnham, President Forbes Burnham, or Prime Minister Forbes Burnham, as he then was, and the then Attorney General of Guyana, who is still alive, Sir Shudat Ramphal, decided, or the Guyanese government decided not to postpone their independence for this border dispute, but to have an agreement with Venezuela. And that is where they came up with this, what they call it was an agreement in a Swiss city, maybe Zurich or one of those cities. But they came up with another accord to create a mechanism to deal with this dispute. And that went on for 3 or 4 decades, and it got nowhere. Of course, in 2015, Guyana discovered, through Exxon, Guyana discovered oil. And of course, you know what happens when you discover oil. The people suddenly have interest in you. So the matter was resuscitated in 2015 by the Venezuelans. And of course, the Venezuelans have taught these things in their primary schools and so on. They've taught their children over the years that Essequibo is theirs. They call it the Zona Reclamation. Guyana then, after 2015, Guyana referred the matter to the UN Secretary General in accordance with the 1966 treaty. And the UN Secretary General then referred it to the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice is one of the 6 organs of the United Nations. It is located in The Hague, in Holland. And the matter has been there since, I think, 2016 or 2017. Venezuela has challenged the authority of the court, or the jurisdiction of the court, to opine, to judge this matter. The court has rejected that. The court says, yes, we have jurisdiction on this matter. The ICJ is the highest court in the world. It is, the United Nations court to settle disputes between countries. So the matter is there before the ICJ. And of course, I've just given you the whole timeline here, because I could start off with 1648 and something called the Peace at Westphalia in Germany, and something called the Treaty of Munster, which gave Holland its independence from Spain. But coming now to December 3rd, 2023, Venezuela has a referendum, and they have a number of things that they're asking people to vote on, the Venezuelan public. One of which is to reject the 1899 award, and the other one is to create a new state. Now, Venezuela has different states within Venezuela, like the United States. And the name of the state is called Guyana Essequibo. So it is a very dangerous time for CARICOM. And I was speaking to some of our elders who were in the Foreign Service and served as ministers of foreign affairs and so on. And I was asking them, what is the greatest crisis ever faced by CARICOM in its 50-year history? Because CARICOM is this year 50 years old. CARICOM was formed in 1973, right? You all didn't know I know all this international relations, right? You all thought I was an energy expert only.
You tell them, Kevin. You tell them.
Right. So the greatest crisis ever faced by CARICOM in its 50 years was the Grenada Revolution. And we are old enough on this panel to remember that. Because at that time, I was now in high school and so on, and I was hearing about it and so on. There was a division in CARICOM. There was the murder of a CARICOM Prime Minister, Mr. Maurice Bishop. And then there was the U.S. invasion of Grenada, and it was a very, very much a critical moment for CARICOM. I think CARICOM may be facing another such conundrum or crisis very shortly. You don't know. Now, you talk to most people and they say, boy, Venezuela will not dare enter into Guyanese territory because you know who is Guyana's biggest economic partner. United States. And Exxon is US-based company. Exxon is the largest oil company in the United States. And then Chevron, another US oil company, just invested in Guyana. So the US has significant economic interest in Guyana. So people think that, okay, Venezuela will not take that chance to get, because the US will intervene. But the thing is, there's something called scenario planning. And in scenario planning, you have to look at all the scenarios. And you cannot rule out military conflict. You cannot rule out Venezuela annexing part of Guyana. We live, you see what happened with Ukraine, and we see what's happening now in the Middle East. So the world is full of conflict, and we would like to see our region remain peaceful. According to Mia Motley, she refers to it as a zone of peace. But peace is something which has to be worked on. So I think December 3rd is a important day for, what Venezuela chooses to do after December 3rd is anyone's guess, but we could look at different scenarios. The Venezuelans have clearly lost. They don't believe that according to them, they don't see the ICJ as the way that this should be resolved. They believe that they and Guyana should go back to the 1966 treaty, the mechanism to solve this dispute, and work on it from there. Guyana, of course, has rejected that because that process had almost 40 years to work and didn't work. So why should it work now? So that is where we are. Where does Trinidad and Tobago find itself in all this, you might ask? Well, you cannot divorce the Dragon deal from the Guyana-Venezuela conflict. The two are not mutually exclusive. Trinidad is a member of CARICOM, and as such, Trinidad and Tobago has a responsibility to CARICOM and to its CARICOM member, Guyana. At the same time, Trinidad and Tobago is seeking an arrangement with Venezuela to get natural gas. So we are walking a very thin line, a tight rope. And I don't think you could divorce the two. I think the two are interlinked. I think there's a natural nexus between the two. So that is where we are. We have economic interest in Guyana too. We have hundreds of Trinidadian companies and Trinidadians working in Guyana now. So we have, as I said, we are in a very, very much in a tightrope situation as a country. And I just thought I'll give this entire history lesson this morning, and to give some context to all this discussion, right? So we don't know. I don't know if you all have any views on what could happen after the 3rd of December, but as I said, we have to consider all scenarios.
Yeah. I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, I remember years ago because this issue has been bubbling under the surface for a while, and I remember years ago there used to be a contingent of the British military stationed in Guyana because of this issue. I assume since Guyana became a republic.
Up to 1966, Guyana was a British colony. Up to 1962, Trinidad was a British colony. But I would think that after 1960s and so on, the British wouldn't have a military presence there. Maybe they did. I'll have to find out. But as I said, it is interesting because the U.S. economic interest in Guyana is probably the largest now. Is the largest interest that the U.S. has the energy interest in Trinidad is really British. Shell and BP are really British companies. You might want to argue Shell is also a Dutch company, but it is both Dutch and Anglo-Dutch. And BP, of course, is British. But in Guyana, the interest is really American interest, which is why you see the secretaries of state and so on going to Guyana.
The U.S. hasn't really articulated Has the U.S. articulated any position on the issue as yet?
Yes, yeah, the undersecretaries, the undersecretary of the state in the State Department, I think his name is Brian Nichols, has tweeted on the matter, advocating that Guyana has to defend its sovereignty and so on. And so clearly the US is watching as to what will happen after the 3rd of December. But as I said, there's also an election in Venezuela next year, a general election. And one of the schools of thought is that the ruling party and the president in Venezuela are merely using this as a cause to rally the population behind them, right? So that is another, and that is mere politics, and that Venezuela will not go to the point of occupying the Essequibo and so on. Of course, Venezuela has a far larger army than Guyana, so that militarily it's a mismatch, right? But as I said, for all intents and purposes, the Monroe Doctrine, which is now 200 years old, still applies, and the United States has significant economic interest in Guyana. So the U.S. is watching, right?
In Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago.
I think that goes without saying, that the U.S. would be keeping a very close eye on that situation.
And the U.S. also has, Kevin, their ongoing issues with Venezuela even before this.
Oh yes, yeah, and that goes back all the way back to Chavez and so on. Interestingly, I think it was last week at the OAS, the CARICOM states all gave very strong statements on this matter, calling for the matter to be resolved diplomatically and through the instruments of the international rule of law. Of course, referring to the International Court of Justice. So that very good to see CARICOM united with Guyana on this matter.
What do you think will happen if Venezuela actually does the referendum moves in favor of that? Because any referendum coming out of Venezuela is going to be questioned by the U.S. anyway as to its validity, given the history of the U.S. and Venezuela. But the referendum goes in favor of, according to the Maduro government, in favor of Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, we know the referendum is going to be a landslide in favor of these five questions that are being posed to the population.
Why do we know it's going to be a landslide?
What's that?
Why do we know it's going to be a landslide?
I suspect it's going to be. I don't think Venezuelans will come out and vote. It's orchestrated by the government. They will get the referendum will show widespread national support for the items that are being put forth. But the question is, what does Venezuela do after that, having gotten that mandate from their population?
Well, if the US has questioned the validity of elections themselves as they're not free and fair in Venezuela, why would they hold up the validity of a referendum under the same regime?
No, it's not. I'm not referring to what the U.S. thinks. I'm talking about the outcome of the referendum. In my opinion, would be an overwhelming victory for the referendum, for the questions. And the question is, what does Venezuela do? What America considers as to the outcome of the referendum is not the issue. The issue is what does Venezuela do next, right? The referendum is not Party A versus Party B, It's not UNC versus PNM, There's some questions that are being put to the Venezuelan population to vote on, right? So we'll see what the next move is after December 3rd.
Yeah, I'd seen a news report from obviously it was I don't know if it was a Venezuelan television channel or another Spanish American television channel interviewing people on the border, and the people on the border basically the Venezuelans on the border were basically saying they just want things to remain as it was, peacefully, because they're saying that both sides of the border are friends and both sides of the border have family members.
What is also happening in Guyana is you have an influx of Venezuelan migrants coming into Guyana. We of course have been experiencing that now for a while, but it's in some regards it's actually easier to get from from Venezuela to Trinidad than from Venezuela to Guyana because of the jungle and so on. Trinidad is a boat ride from to Cupita to Cedros. So, but because I think it is 7 million people have left Venezuela now. Of course, there's a spillover into Guyana. There's a huge spillover into Colombia. There's a spillover into Trinidad, and of course, people are spilling over into the United States. So, Venezuelans are also seeking economic, refuge in Guyana. So there's a growing Venezuelan population inside of Guyana. So the Venezuelan question in the region is there's the issue of this migrant outflow, where and I don't think it's in decline in Trinidad. I don't know what you all think. We don't have numbers, but certainly from where I sit, I mean, sometimes I wonder if I'm living in Caracas, right? So that is also part of the situation. You have the Venezuelan presence already in towns and cities in Guyana. So I think nobody wants a conflict, right? But it has cast a shadow over Guyana for too long. And Guyana has had to live with this shadow of this claim on 2/3 of its territory. And now that claim is affecting its ability to develop its oil industry. Because
how do you think, Kevin? How do you think this will or can affect this negotiation between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela and this dragon deal, which is already contentious in many ways?
Well, Trinidad and Tobago is taking the position of CARICOM, as the Prime Minister said. Prime Minister said Trinidad and Tobago, of course, is a member of CARICOM. We stand behind the CARICOM position, which is that the international rule of law should be allowed to take its course, and the matter should be heard in the ICJ. Venezuela has rejected that position. So Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, for all intents and purposes, disagree. In the OAS recently, our ambassador to the OAS, which is retired Brigadier Philip Spencer, gave the Trinidad and Tobago and the CARICOM position similar to what I just said. We support the international rule of law. So that's Trinidad's position, which is diametrically opposed to Venezuela's position. So in that regard, we disagree. But on the matter of the dragon, we have to work together. The dragon deal, we have to work together because we need the gas. And we can have a whole other show on that, right? But you all know the situation with natural gas. We're running low on natural gas, and our plants are, suffering in Point Lisas and Atlantic LNG and so on. So on the one hand, we need the gas, so we have to work with Venezuela. On the other hand, we have the CARICOM position. So as I say, Trinidad and Tobago, it's really a time for skillful diplomacy and tact, and for us to navigate this position. But I just want to, our first Prime Minister, Dr. Williams, who was an eminent historian of international repute, had spoken about Venezuela's claim to the Essequibo, because I think it was something which would have had him concerned as a person who understood the international order and who understood history. And as far back as this is in Selwyn Ryan's biography of Eric Williams, as far back as 1976, Dr. Williams warned the Caribbean about Venezuela's what he called imperialistic ambitions. I mean, this is not me saying that. This is my reference to Eric Williams in 1976, I think it was, in Professor Ryan's book. So it is important to always, while we act today, it is always important to know history and to know the historical precedents that underpin where we are today. So I just hope, because you see the mistakes of history being repeated all over the world again and again and again, and you wonder if people don't read history, if they don't learn the lessons of history. So I think it is important for us to read Eric Williams, read Shudat Ramphal, two of the finer minds that the Caribbean produce, and to get an understanding of where we are today and why things are playing out the way they are playing out.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I mean, you were a treasure trove of information from a historical perspective.
I was asked to come on this show with 45 seconds notice, huh? Right?
As usual.
That's Steve.
And Steve Khan may want to break his record the next time and give me 30 seconds notice.
We'll try and break that record.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mr. Kevin Ramnarine, for being with us.
Yeah.
All right.
So he certainly painted a good historical picture of the entire problem, and where it's going to lead, who knows. But it's a problem that we're going to have to deal with. And as I said, it's the subject of an editorial this morning with regard to Prime Minister Dr. Rowley's response to a question on it. And so there's several articles in the newspapers that are actually considering it.
But Venezuela has not shown by its actions and its utterances that it intends to listen to any international agency, body, or institution regarding this. As Mr. Ramnarine said, he expects the referendum to go by landslide in favor of what the Venezuelan government seems to want, because in many people's estimations, Venezuela is not necessarily a free and fair country, according to the US. And 7 million people don't leave their country just like that. You understand? It means there's a lot of strife, a lot of discontent with what is happening. And there are even questions about whether or not elections are free and fair. So if elections, there are questions about the freeness and the fairness of elections, why would there not be questions about the validity of a referendum that the same regime is carrying out? So it is a very complex situation, and I think one of the reasons that the Maduro regime is doing this is that election is due. A show of military might and force is always good for the incumbent in those kinds of countries.
Yeah.
And it is a strategic move by the Maduro regime, and in any case, I don't think the Maduro regime, even when the election comes, is going to be changed, given what the history has been or the information coming out of Venezuela has been.
Yeah.
So Trinidad and Tobago has to straddle a very diplomatic tightrope.
Well, the editorial in
the
editorial in the Express today references it. Well, the headline is TNT must not be caught unprepared. And if I just may quote a little bit from it, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley used uncharacteristically diplomatic language on Monday when addressing the border dispute between Ghana and Venezuela. But even with the matter before the International Court of Justice and with Venezuela's planning to hold a referendum on December 3rd to claim the Ghana region of Essequibo, the government of Trinidad and Tobago will soon have to take a firm position. CARICOM has made its stance on this matter crystal clear, stating that international law strictly prohibits the government of one state from unilaterally seizing, annexing, or incorporating the territory of another state. The Commonwealth Secretary General, Patricia Scotland, issued an unequivocal statement on November 1st saying the Commonwealth stands with the government and people of Guyana and with our partners in CARICOM in expressing our concern over the questions in the planned referendum. So the Commonwealth also weighed in on the issue. And what did Prime Minister Rowley, who doesn't normally mince words, say? I would not like to see the relationship between Venezuela and Guyana deteriorate to the point where consequent actions will negatively damage all of us. Did Dr. Rowley veer somewhat on Venezuela's side when he stated that Venezuela was one country that understood the principled position of Trinidad and Tobago, because to him, when Venezuela's lifeblood was at stake, Trinidad and Tobago took its more public, principled position. Far from being a matter of principle, however, Dr. Rowley's diplomacy is based entirely on realpolitik, that is, pragmatism rather than ethical or ideological considerations. After all, Venezuela is a mere 8 miles away from Trinidad, and Maduro runs a militarized state. Prime Minister Rowley must not only play nice with Maduro to secure oil and gas deals, but also to stymie any aggressive action from the Venezuelan government. And so the opinion goes into a little bit more. I'm just kind of skipping through certain paragraphs.
But Dr. Rowley can't afford to be reckless in any comment he makes. At this time, because as we said before, we have significant economic interests on both sides.
Yep.
So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's going to have, but at some point, as you said, he's going to have to align with CARICOM in principle, or give a reason why he's not.
Yeah.
Particularly Venezuela moves in terms of seeking to make tangible efforts to annex that Essequibo area. So we'll see how it goes. It's not, and I think Kevin is right. Is one of CARICOM's new big challenges, or biggest challenge moving forward. I mean, they done drop the ball with Haiti already anyway. Yeah, they have. They've taken very long and very slow to move with Haiti, and interventions where Haiti is concerned.
How much intervention can CARICOM really do?
Well, I think, past humanitarian aid, I think they could have played a stronger role in helping the Haitian people to get past what is now basically almost an abject devolution of law and order.
Yeah, but what do you mean, send our armies?
Make a decision that gangs cannot be allowed to run over a government, and send support in a more expeditious manner than sit and wait and hope it resolve itself while people dying and they assassinate a president, or is it a prime minister? Moise, you understand?
I think that's a president.
A president, yeah, and allow the place to devolve into almost chaos. Anyway, it is 2 minutes moving up to 8 o'clock. You'll have a wonderful Thursday.
I think the problem with Haiti, the problem with Haiti too is Haiti has over 11 million people. CARICOM collectively has 5. So even though we sympathize with the issue of Haiti, it's difficult for us in terms of our human resources alone to be that interventionist. I think what we could bring is lobby on an international level, or be more politically outspoken about the issue. That's what I could say, and humanitarian.
I think they've shirked the responsibility where Haiti is concerned for years.
Yeah, but a country of 11 million versus a country collectively, a region collectively of what, 5-6 million people? How much intervention can we really practically do?
You can. I don't think the issue is the numbers. I think that's oversimplification as well. They have a bigger population, the combined population in the Caribbean is the issue.
The issue would be numbers, Paul. If you have a country of 11 million people and collectively you have a region of not more than 6 million, how much physical intervention can we do?
Because you're thinking physical intervention has to do with a large army force heading into a combined army force heading into Haiti.
I'm saying physical intervention is not really an option. I think what we could do is humanitarian aid and lobby on an international level, but physical intervention we could contribute, but it will have to be with other countries.
Clearly, we don't have,
Because
and that's why I said that's why I said
National-
focusing on the disparity in population numbers is too simplifying, too simplistic.
Well, I disagree
Anyway.
with you. I think it's a real issue.
Well, we will
In
agree
terms
to
of the human
disagree.
resource of the Caribbean, which is also not a rich area economically. So
We
you
will
have
agree
all
to
of those
disagree.
issues.
Have a great Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, Americans and others.
Yeah. Gobble, gobble,
Yeah.
gobble.
Happy Thanksgiving to our American friends and family. You know, enjoy the weekend, because it's a fantastic weekend. And of course, well, the shopping is no longer restricted to you all. It's now open to the world.
Okay, you're going to shop later. Is that what you're going to say? Is that what you're going to do?
Not. Absolutely not. Well, I mean, you have the entire weekend to shop, and then you have Cyber Monday. Isn't Cyber Monday a day too? Where you can get a lot of deals on Monday too.
Yeah.
So you have several
You
days
get-
to
you
shop
get-
whatever you're looking for.
you-
But you
but
also
there are
have deals in
deals on-
Trinidad, eh? You also have deals in Trinidad, actually, because there are a lot of Black Friday sales on.
I know Price Mart had one on televisions.
No, but you have a lot of sales on. Not only Price Mart, you know. Court, Circuit Zone, all of them have sales on. In terms of getting stuff. I assume Standards too. I don't know.
Not too sure.
Anyway, have a fantastic day, whatever it is that you do. Remember to
Yeah.
smile and laugh. It is great for your health, especially in these troubled times on planet Earth. It is good to still be able to laugh and smile.
Mhm.
It is great for your health.
Yeah. Of course, our guest tomorrow will be president of the PCA, David West. We have him on tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rich. Of course, Wendell will join us tomorrow. Full